In our Modbus training, we will start with an introduction. We will go over what Modbus is, how it works, the differences between Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP, how different kind of Modbus equipment works, applications where Modbus is being used, and at the end we will answer questions. My name is Maria Lamoni, and I've been with the company for over 7 years. I'm the sales manager and have previously held positions of application engineer and web developer. I also have Robert with me from our technical support department and Corey from our sales department. ICP DAS was established in 1993. Our headquarters is located in Hsinchu, Taiwan. ICP DAS USA was launched in 2001 to support the North and South American markets. We have over 200 R&D engineers. We work closely with them to add new features to our products, develop new products, and to support our customers. Most of our products are RoHS compliant, which means they're lead-free. We have our ISO 9001 certification, which ensures we meet product statutory and regulatory requirements. Data acquisition is the process of sampling real-world physical information and the conversion of those samples into digital numeric values that computers and controllers can understand. Programs can be run on computers, and controllers can take that information and implement control operations like turning on a fan based on a temperature, turning on a pump based on a tank level, or opening a valve based on pressure levels. Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP are protocols or languages that devices can communicate over. RS-485 or Ethernet refers to cabling that protocols can communicate over. Sensors are attached to data acquisition equipment which can provide information that a computer or controller can use. So in this picture here, you can see that there's a PC running some control and monitoring software. Then there's an Ethernet cable and it's connected to a switch. A switch just basically repeats on the signal. Then you can see there's another Ethernet cable connected to a data acquisition module, and there's an Ethernet port on the module. And then there's a place for you to connect different sensors. One of the sensors is a fan. It's connected to a fan, and one is connected to a thermocouple sensor which gives temperature. So the temperature can be given back to the computer, and the computer can hold some logic in the program which can trigger the fan to turn on based on conditions. So for example, whenever the temperature is over 80 degrees, you can run a program in the computer which can turn on the fan, so you won't, so the equipment won't be overheated. Modbus RTU allows for communication between up to 255 devices in one network. For example, a computer can collect temperature and humidity levels from Modbus RTU-based devices in many different areas in a building or manufacturing plant. Modbus is often used to connect a supervisory computer with RTU remote terminal units and SCADA supervisory control and data acquisition systems so you can see the status of equipment on the PC. It's also widely used in applications like energy management, machines, remote monitoring systems, wastewater processing systems, and building automation systems. Modbus applications are easy to deploy and maintain. Each Modbus device in a network is given a unique address. In serial Modbus RTU networks, only the node assigned as the master may initiate commands. In Ethernet-based Modbus TCP networks, any device can send out a Modbus command. One master device is usually configured to send Modbus commands. A Modbus command contains the unique Modbus address of the destination device. Only the destination device will act on the command, even though other devices might receive it. All Modbus commands contain checking information that ensures commands arrived intact. The basic Modbus commands can instruct an RTU to change a value in one of its registers, control or read an I/O port, as well as command a device to send back one or more values contained in its registers. Modbus RTU-based equipment communicates over RS-485, which communicates over 2 copper wires that are usually twisted around each other. They call it twisted pair. Modbus RTU supports communication distances up to 1,200 meters or 4,000 feet without a repeater. There are different speeds at which Modbus RTU devices can communicate, like between 1200 to 115,200 bits per second. Modbus TCP protocol is a variant of Modbus protocol. It was developed in 1999 to allow Internet and Ethernet access of Modbus devices. Modbus TCP-based equipment communicates over Ethernet cabling. Many buildings have Ethernet cabling installed, so adding Modbus TCP devices is convenient in many applications. Modbus TCP and Ethernet cabling supports communication distances up to 100 meters or 328 feet. We provide a wide selection of industrial DIN rail mountable Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP-based data acquisition equipment, including thermocouple, voltage, current, thermistor, RTD, digital, and relay output types. Our Modbus RTU-based equipment is set up on a computer with DCON Utility, a software utility which allows you to search the network, configure addresses and I/O types, baud rates, parity bit, checksum, and to test the input and output status. DCON Utility can communicate with Modbus RTU-based equipment through a COM port or virtual COM port that is set up with an Ethernet to serial converter. M7017 is a Modbus RTU-based analog input module that can measure voltage. It is widely used in the energy industry with solar panels, wind turbines, and inverters. The solar panels and wind turbines produce DC direct current energy. Inverters convert the DC direct current energy into AC alternating current that can be fed into a commercial electrical grid. DN843i is a current input sensor board that can put out voltage. M7017 can take that voltage so it can be brought back to a computer for data logging, control, and monitoring so you can measure energy being produced. The data is logged on a WP5141XW107 programmable automation controller with Windows CE.NET 5.0 operating system and a VGA port for connecting to a monitor. It supports Modbus. We provide free e-logger software that allows you to set up a simple control, monitoring, and data logging application. Modbus TCP-based analog data acquisition modules like ET7017 communicate over Ethernet cables. You can use industrial Ethernet switches like NS205 with them. They have a web server inside for configuration. They have an IP address so you can upload images to them to show inside of the web server. For example, if you were monitoring tanks, you could have a page that shows a graphic of a tank, above the tank level, data, so it's clear to the viewer what kind of data is showing. You can also make different labels in the user interface to show what kind of data is being acquired, like fan, light, pump, motor, and things like that right next to the input data. You can use a standard web browser and the module's IP address to pull up the web server for configuration and monitoring. To set up TCP-based data acquisition devices like the ET7000 series, you can connect them directly to a PC with an Ethernet cable, or you can connect them to a switch or hub to get them on the same network. You can use MiniOS 7 Utility to set the IP address of our Ethernet controllers and data acquisition equipment so they can be used with other Modbus TCP devices. Modbus TCP-based equipment needs to be on the same network, so each device needs a unique IP address. Each device needs to have the same subnet mask and gateway. To access the web server for the ET7000 series, you can open a standard web browser and enter in the configured IP address. You also need to enter in the username and password. You can configure the I/O settings, create different users with passwords, make web pages for displaying the data, and change network settings. Modbus TCP-based ET7000 series are being used in emergency warning systems. They are connected to devices like cameras, smoke sensors, and transmitters. They send signals over the Internet to remote devices like web-based LED displays, which display warnings to drivers about dangers in tunnels and can direct drivers to a better route to keep the roadways safe and clear. Cellular controllers like G4500 operate over the 2G and 3G cellular networks and support Modbus protocols. They can be programmed in C language and allow for sending of text messages and emails based on information from data acquisition equipment. Zigbee is a self-organizing mesh network that was developed for applications that require a low data rate and secure network. It was developed in 1998, and the name originated from the way honeybees fly back to their beehives. Zigbee Wireless I/O modules communicate over Modbus RTU protocol. They need a host converter so they can communicate back to a PC or a controller. They are set up with some dip switches on the side of the product so they can be in the same wireless network and have a unique address. Zigbee wireless devices are ideal for applications where wiring is inconvenient. They are used for applications like building, factory, and machine automation. Each Zigbee network has one RF channel and one PAN ID, and each individual node has a unique node ID. Zigbee supports many flexible topologies like cluster, where nodes are arranged around the host converter in little bunches, mesh, where the host coordinator is at one end, or star, where the host coordinator is in the middle. We provide Zigbee Alliance-based products that work with other vendors' Zigbee Alliance-based products. At the bottom right of this image, you can see a host converter connected to a PC. Each Zigbee network needs a host converter to act as the coordinator for the network. It helps to establish the communication path between the computer and the end devices. The PC holds a control and monitoring program, so operators can see the status of the factory, and they can also turn things on or off as necessary through the program. To the left of the host converter, you can see a Zigbee I/O module, which can be used to turn things on or off based on conditions. At the top right of the picture, you can see a Zigbee slave converter is attached to a touchscreen HMI human-machine interface. With it, users can input things like the number of pieces of materials a worker cut with an industrial saw. The image also shows other I/O modules and devices connected to the wireless Zigbee network for providing information for control and monitoring. So you can see there's some serial devices over here connected to a controller, and those can communicate over Modbus RTU. The SST900B wireless RF modem operates over the 900 MHz band, supports peer-to-peer and multi-point topologies and Modbus RTU devices. It is set up with the software utility. In this picture, you can see a PC or controller like the XP8041 or IP8441 can be connected to an SST900B RF modem, and it can communicate wirelessly to I/O modules or I/O racks if another SST900B RF modem is connected to them and is configured to be in the same network. Antennas can help to extend the communication distance for Zigbee and RF modems. We provide antennas that can communicate up to several kilometers. We have directional and omnidirectional antennas. Omnidirectional antennas support communication across an oval area, and directional antennas need to be pointed at each other to work. Energy management systems help with monitoring and power consumption and usage. Monitoring energy can help you save on costs, since changes can be made to reduce energy usage when it's not needed. SCADA control and monitoring software can be used to display the data in a way that's easy to understand and analyze. We provide Modbus RTU-based power meters that can be used to gather kilowatt hours and energy consumption data. You can daisy chain many power meters together over the RS485 bus, and you can send the information back over the internet with cellular modems. Power meter concentrators can be used for logging and displaying power meter information. Data logging devices like power meter concentrators allow information to get logged on a micro SD card in a CSV comma-separated value format that can be opened in Microsoft Excel. Protocol converters are devices that allow the conversion of one type of protocol into another for interoperability, so different controllers, computers, and devices can communicate. So you might have a HART device and you might want to have it communicate with devices on a Modbus network, so you can use a HART to Modbus converter. Or you might have a fiber optic network, and you might want to integrate some Modbus data over that. Or you might want to bring some Modbus data and have it communicate with the backnet network, and so you can use protocol converters for things like that. Modbus TCP communicates over Ethernet networks. Modbus RTU communicates over serial networks. These networks are not the same. You can use a Modbus RTU to Modbus TCP converter like TGW715 to combine networks. You can also use RS485 to Ethernet converters like TDS715 in case your computer doesn't have a serial COM port. They are set up with a software utility and allow you to communicate with serial devices over Ethernet networks. So as you can see in this picture here, there's a PC connected with an Ethernet cable to a switch. The switch is connected to the Ethernet port of the TGW715 Modbus RTU to Modbus TCP converter. Then on the COM port of the TGW715, you can see that Modbus RTU devices are daisy-chained over the RS485 bus, and each Modbus RTU device has a different address, and you can have up to 255 devices on one network. Easy Data Logger is a free PC-based control and monitoring software that we provide with our data acquisition modules. You can use it to send email alarms based on conditions, log data, show information on a screen, or to implement control. You can use it with other vendors' Modbus products as long as you have one ICP DAS Modbus product in the network. It supports up to 64 I/O tags, which are used to tie memory locations in the computer that represent the input and output channels from data acquisition equipment. You can also display and log video from web cameras and can send SMS or email alarms out based on information from the system. You can also set up virtual channels that can hold information, like if you want to take 5 channels and then take the average, you can use a virtual channel to hold the average. Easy Data Logger supports layout pages, so you can get graphics from the graphic library and map them up to I/O equipment so you can visually see the status of tank levels, pressure readings, or the status of valves, motors, and other equipment. It supports trending, so you can see the status of the equipment in a graph over time. You can also log the data in an Access or SQL database. You can export the data to Excel or CVS, separated value file. An advanced version is available that can support more channels, alarm contacts, and web cameras. SCADA is supervisory control and data acquisition. SCADA software runs on a PC and allows you to interface with various equipment like data acquisition modules, PACs, programmable automation controllers, PLCs, programmable logic controllers, embedded controllers, and instrumentation devices. It comes with a graphic library, so you can use it to create a visual user interface that represents real applications. They also support scripting, so you can implement some control through basic programming commands. They support multi-level user management for security. Different users can have different permission levels. In this picture here, you can see that there are 3 different areas that have a PLC connected to a touch panel and some data acquisition modules. They are connected to a hub or Ethernet switch and a web camera. They are networked back over Ethernet cables to a PC running Indusoft SCADA software. You can monitor and control the system from each area or from the PC running SCADA software. Indusoft has multi-language support, so you can create your program in English and then easily convert the system over to another language like Spanish. We provide some PAC programmable automation controllers that have Indusoft built in. SCADA software can be set up to be web accessible over a web page and can automatically send email and SMS alarms. Touchpads are touchscreen controllers that support Modbus protocols and are programmable in C language or ladder logic. They come with HMIWorks, a free development software. They come with a 2.8-inch or 4.3-inch display and can fit in electrical wall outlets. RS-485 and Ethernet versions are available so they can communicate over Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP. TPD-433 has both RS-485 and Ethernet ports. TPD-283 is powered over Ethernet. They can be used to show the status of equipment like tank and temperature levels and to control equipment like opening and closing valves or turning on motors and lights. They have a high-resolution color-resistive touchscreen. The front of VPD-130 type controllers are IP65 waterproof, so if you mount them properly in a panel, you can spray water at them. External wall boxes are available. Some have a USB port for uploading programs. HMIWorks is an easy-to-use development environment. They come with many demo programs for working with Modbus devices, reading and writing to flash memory, displaying data, and more. There are many widgets available which you could use in your screens. There are also libraries with different pictures. We provide free technical support and can show you how to use the software or can help with simple programs. Touchpads are being used to automate our theater training room at our headquarters. A TPD-430 touchscreen controller allows users to change the temperature, turn on a fan, and to control the lights. The TPD-430 is connected to a LinPack Linux-based controller that has a web server, which is published to the Wi-Fi network. An Android phone on the same Wi-Fi network can access the web page and can also control the lights, fan, and temperature through the touchscreen interface. GPRS data servers like GT540 are configurable and can allow software on a PC to communicate with remote Modbus RTU-based devices connected to the GT540 through the Internet over the cellular network. They also have 1 analog input, 2 digital outputs, and 6 digital inputs on board. They can send email alarms based on configured high and low alarm levels. M2M RTU Center is software we provide that allows SCADA or other programs on a PC like Easy Data Logger to easily interface with remote devices through our GPRS data server devices like GT540 or G4500. It is an RTU series management tool that supports up to 128 GPRS RTU devices. Modbus Pol is a very popular Modbus master simulator that can be used for testing and debugging of your slave devices. It supports Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP protocols. It also allows you to test and simulate Modbus protocol. You can use it to monitor several Modbus device slaves at the same time. Modbus Slave Simulator allows you to simulate up to 32 slave devices and 32 different windows on your computer. It's convenient for PLC programming so you can test before you receive your slave devices from your supplier. You can also use it to monitor serial traffic. It also provides OLE automation for interfacing with Visual Basic and Excel. It allows you to do things like read the coil status, input status, holding registers, input registers, write to registers, and things like that. Modbus uses registers to hold the data, and you can access the data and turn things on or off, but basically the status of the I/O and the measurement data, it's all stored in memory registers. Modbus is a C# 3.0 implementation of the Modbus protocol. It is developed and maintained on a voluntary basis and is provided free of charge. You can use it to help develop programs, and many demo programs are available. ICP DAS verified and approved the DLL based on the official release version. Programs can use the DLL released by ICP DAS to develop a Modbus application for regular Windows-based PCs or Windows CE.NET-based PCs devices. The DLL features Modbus RTU Master Slave, Modbus TCP Master Slave, and Modbus UDP Master Slave. These are some Modbus resources that can help you with information on Modbus and tools for testing and communicating with Modbus equipment. Modicon's website, they're the inventor of the Modbus protocol. Modbus.org is a community for Modbus users. ModbusTools.com provides an ActiveX component and testing tools for communicating with equipment over Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP. And then we also provide some ICP DAS tools for testing Modbus communications. It's called Modbus Master Tool. Some of our company benefits include customized product and OEM capabilities, low lead times, and personalized care. We provide industrial products at competitive prices and keep up with the latest technology. We offer free technical support and offer a wide variety of modular solutions that can meet many different kinds of application requirements. Please go ahead and ask any questions that you might have at this time.